Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
It's Blissin' Up. I'm your host, Rachel Lang, intuitive astrologer. Get starstruck with inspiring guests and engaging conversations. Blissin' Up starts now. Hi, welcome to Blissin' Up. I am your host, the astrological consultant, Rachel Lang, and I am here with birthday boy, Mr. John Williams. Hi, John.
Thank you, honey. Hey.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's a big day, but not just because it's my birthday, but because of what's going on. I'm excited about everything, the trifecta, right?
It is. It's a really significant day. And, you know, it was Michelle. I have a creative Piscean Gemini moon team. Michelle Polino's birthday was yesterday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, belated. Michelle and John. and I was trying to pull up John's solar return chart here to see what this year is doing.
Wow, okay.
So let's take a moment and sing happy birthday to John and to Michelle and play a little happy birthday moment while I pull up a solar return chart.
All right. And I love this song.
I know. We're going to do a little dance party here on Blissin' Up.
Sounds good.
John's blushing a little bit.
I'm blushing. I'm on camera today, actually.
You are.
Just a little square in the corner.
I know. We gotta honor John. It's his solar return. You know, the solar return is the time, the moment when the sun moves back to the exact same place it was at the time of your birth. And then it starts a cycle. It signifies a cycle. And so there's actually what's called a solar return chart. Mm-hmm. And so, John, your solar return chart, your solar return, the exact moment was 2:07 a.m. And it was right before the eclipse. Right before the new moon, right before the eclipse. So this
it already
year,
happened.
It already happened.
Okay.
So you are official.
I'm official.
You're official.
Oh wow.
Your cycle has begun.
Oh wow.
And it's gonna be a very interesting year for you. Very interesting.
It already feels like a very interesting year, and not in a necessarily good way. It just feels very unsettling, to be honest with you. I don't know what that's about. I guess just adapting to change can be unsettling, and it's a big birthday. So that's another thing too. But it's just interesting that the eclipse, because I remember you telling me it was going to be a really big.
Yes.
You know, and I have been feeling this all month, actually. Not even just the last week, but all month.
Yeah, this month
Angst and stuff.
That's I think all of us have been feeling that to a certain extent. You know, what's happening right now and what our show is about today is this eclipse and the eclipse that we had last night and the equinox. And this is a very a pretty rare occurrence to have both of these things happening simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And so what it signifies is that we're all the shift that we're all going through. I mean, we're all being initiated into something at this time. And for each one of you, it's going to be different. And you can look at where these things are happening in your chart, what houses are represented, and those are the areas that you're going to see the biggest shift. And for you, John, those are all going to be, well, in your solar return. So for you, it's double whammy because your solar return's happening right at the same time.
Yeah.
And so in a solar return chart, all of this is happening in your 4th house, which is the house of home, the house of family. And so that's where a lot of your stuff is going to be this year.
Which is very interesting because I started my birthday with talking to my mom, who is back in Ohio, and we don't talk a lot. So it was great to start off my birthday, like it turned midnight, while I was on the phone with her last night. It was 3 o'clock our time in Ohio, and I was fixing her computer. So it was kind of sweet, actually, to start it off that way. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so great. Yeah. So great.
Yeah.
So, and so for all of you, all of you listening and everyone's wishing John a happy birthday in the chat.
Oh, thank you. I need to pop in there and see.
Yeah. So, so for all of us, this is this particular week. So we started last week, if you remember, if we rewind to last Friday's episode, we talked a lot about all of these changes, all of these things that are happening right now. We had the last in a series on Monday. We had the last of a series of Uranus-Pluto square. So we have the planet of revolution squaring off in a challenge, kind of pushing the boundaries of Pluto, which is all about evolution and major systemic societal change. And so we had these two planets squaring off, and we've talked a lot about that this year.
Yeah.
But this is really significant. We're talking a lot about it because we're all feeling this shift. We're all being called to awaken to something in our lives right now. And in a lot of ways, we're being called to awaken to ways in which we're supposed to be breaking out of the structures that we were born into. I mean, we're all sort of born into these ideas and these beliefs that don't necessarily or might not necessarily resonate with who we are as a spiritual being or what our purpose is. And so this planetary shift that happened last week is kind of punctuated by the eclipse, and we're going to talk our show today is all about eclipses and the equinox. So it's, how do you make the most of this time? I'm going to go through sign by sign, like I'm giving you all your own personal mantras for how to, how to make the most of this and what changes you can see in your lives. So toward the end of the show, we're going to really go into, all right, for Scorpios, this is what you're going to see. For Aquarians, this is what you're going to see. So that's our show for today. But first, before we get into that, we have other things happening this week too. And so let's take a moment and get starstruck.
All right.
This is the segment when I offer astrological insights to help you make the most of each day this week. And so we start off the week with a lot of Aries energy. So, and as a Libra, I mean, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed by it already. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Describe that to us. What's Aries energy?
So Aries is the planet, or the sign rather. It's a fire sign. So fire signs are very action oriented. It's all about initiation. It's a lot about, moving forward, sometimes impulsively. It can stir up that drive within us to kind of, take action, even when action isn't necessarily in our best and highest good. Aries also is ruled by the planet Mars, which Mars rules the ego. And so a lot of times the actions that we're wanting to take are actions to make me, myself, and I a little bit, better, So, which isn't always a bad thing.
Self-care.
Oh yeah, totally. It's self-care. It's self-care, but it's also, it's an energy of assertion. So, we're all sort of moving, wanting to move into into our own individual sense of purpose. And ultimately Mars, Mars also deals with fighting defense, fighting for the highest truth, the highest good, and often fighting means retreating. So, often, a higher octave of Mars is really like social justice, taking a stand for something. It's self-defense. It's defense of others. It's defense of the planet. And so we could look at this Aries time, this Mars-heavy Aries time, this month in particular, and say, this is a moment. This is an opportunity for us to all really find a cause and commit to it, connect to it, and whatever that happens to be. There's a lot of opportunity during all of this planetary motion to start seeing ourselves as being connected, like we talked about. There's so much water in our cosmic conversation right now. And with Neptune and Pisces, and Mercury just kind of connected with Neptune and Pisces over the last week, and so with so much water, water helps us to see how we are connected to a greater whole, how we're all connected to one another. Water molecules gravitate toward one another, and the eclipse is certainly influences the water as well. The water in our bodies, the water in the planet. It influences the tides and we'll talk about that, and sort of the symbolism of that a little bit later. But, all of this Aries energy that we have, the sun, the moon, Uranus, Mars, all in Aries, fire sign action. So this week, I encourage you especially the next 3 or 4 days, to really do some soul searching and find out, what are you being initiated into at this time? What is being awakened in you? Where are you being asked to assert yourself, to initiate change, and to do something that sparks fire? I mean, fire ignites, it catches, So what are you being asked to catch on fire in your life right now? And not literally, but metaphorically. And if you feel like literally you got to burn something, go out, build a bonfire, and release some stuff, some old stuff. So this, during when there's so much Aries energy, we have to remember to be very patient with one another, very patient with ourselves, especially our cardinal signs, Cancer, Capricorn, and Libra, because the Aries, all these Aries planets are probably going to be forming squares or oppositions with some of your personal planets. And so you're going to be feeling this tension. And remember, tension it's a great teacher. We love tension. We welcome tension because it shows us what areas of our lives want to expand and break open and grow. And it also helps us to see seeds of possibilities in our life wherever we're feeling areas of tension. That's fertile ground for growing new things. So you're going to want to take it easy, slow down, and really, find time, make time to sit and listen to some of the rumblings, some of the stirrings of what's happening in your heart and what's being encouraged and invited to move at this time. Then this weekend is a great time to release frustrations, anything that's building up, especially on Sunday. On Sunday the moon enters Taurus, and it's going to be gentle. It's going to be sort of a gentle influence. It's going to connect with Venus in a very beautiful way, and so it's going to be a very romantic time, a very peaceful time, a very gentle time. And so this is a really good time to sort of release anything that to have those kind of conversations that might be challenging. If you can wait it out today and tomorrow when all that Aries energy is really up. When we get into Sunday, Monday, then it's like you want to connect, you want to merge, you want to get, intimate with others. And so that's really lovely. So delay any difficult conversations for when things are a little bit more balanced and harmonious. Then on Tuesday, the moon moves into Gemini early in the morning, and it's right back to business. We've had 2 days of really romantic little moon in Taurus. We're eating everything in sight, and that's what happens when the moon's in Taurus for me.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. Or you might have extra birthday cake, John. So Tuesday, we're all back to business. This is a great day for fire signs, a great day for air signs. Just avoid acting on impulse, because with the moon in Gemini, everything in Aries, 3 planets in Aries, it's like we're all kind of okay, we want to act, we want to move, and we don't want to necessarily think too much about it. Then on Wednesday, those choices that we're sort of delaying on, or the choices that we have to make, are becoming crystal clear. And so this is especially true for Geminis, Aquarians, Sagittarians, and Aries, and Leos too. This is a really good day for taking action. This is a really good day for moving projects forward. It's a great day for making sales pitches or going out on auditions or anything that you have to do that requires a little bit of extra courage or bravery. Leos especially, great day for taking big risks. Then on Thursday, the moon moves into Cancer, and it stirs up all of our emotional triggers. They're all kind of raw right now.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, they're all.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us from now until the lunar eclipse that we the lunar eclipse that we have on April 4th. We're in this 2-week little eclipse tunnel where when you're in an eclipse tunnel, it's kind of bookended. Like this period is bookended where it's like everything is sensitive, sensitized. If you're wanting to, this is a great time, on a spiritual level to be really tapping into other gifts or other abilities, seeing other dimensions, to be going really high in meditation. This is a time when you're more open, you're more sensitive energetically, but you're also more sensitive emotionally too. So be very gentle with one another Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
And that takes us through the week. So it's we're all kind of feeling the intensity. We're still feeling all of the energy of what's happening today. And so let's talk about what is the significance of this eclipse.
Sure.
Everyone's posting about it. You're seeing it all over the place. It was actually visible in parts of Europe early this morning our time, and usually when the eclipse is visible, the place where it's visible is usually the place where we see things happening. We see usually events happening, very specific changes, very specific events happening. Now there's a question about timing, and also I want to say before I just dive right in,
sure, yeah.
that if anyone has any questions, if they want readings, if any of you listening want to call in, talk about the eclipse, talk about what it signifies for you, feel free to do that. What is the number?
323-284-7826.
Awesome.
And I put it in the chat too, so that everyone can join us.
Thanks, John. Isn't he the best?
Aw.
Do you have birthday plans?
I am just sort of going in with the flow with it, just seeing how I feel and just flowing with it. Yeah. So no real big plans, no. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I hope I think that this is you have such an opportunity because of all the potency of the day. You have such an opportunity to
and I would like to discuss that actually a little bit about, you say eclipse tunnel.
Sure.
So we start with the solar eclipse and then we end with the lunar eclipse.
Yes.
So what is the significance of the solar at the beginning and then ending with the lunar at the end?
That's a great question. So solar, there's the difference symbolically between solar and lunar eclipse is that the solar eclipse, usually you see events taking place in your physical life.
Okay.
And often there are things that are completely out of the blue. Circumstances might happen. You might have significant losses. The ancients used to think that eclipses were, if you think about like the ancients, they were able to predict cycles of eclipses, and they were able to know, astrologers mostly at that time were able to know when the sun was going to be blocked out, and so eclipses came to symbolize like really big changing, the death of a king, for example, or the birth of royalty, or those kinds of things. And so solar eclipses, we see often events playing out in our lives. Lunar eclipses are more internal shifts, internal changes. Okay. Now, when I talk about an eclipse tunnel, that's kind of my term for it. That's my thought, my idea of it.
Makes sense though.
And it's like, so if you have this really significant, powerful influence, and then 2 weeks later, you have another really significant, powerful eclipse. Right. Because one's the new moon, which is, solar eclipses are always new moon. Lunar eclipses are always full moon. And when you have these two moments, then, and you're right in the middle of them, you're feeling like things are going to be shaken up, things are going to change. Yeah. And so, a lot of this is related to, symbolically, eclipses change water. They are involved in the high and low tides, and the solar eclipse in particular, the new moon, is usually, the tides are the highest and the lowest. And so if you have the moon and the gravitational pull between the earth, the moon, and the sun all affecting the shifting, the movement of water, water, big bodies of water, when they move, they shift and they change the earth below. And so it can create little mini earthquakes. And
we had that big volcano eruption in Chile.
Yeah,
so,
right. Definitely. Yeah.
So.
Earth changes. So the earth changes because everything's related. The earth is connected to the water, is connected to the air, is connected to fire. And so everything, all of our elements are connected.
Yeah. And we are over 60% water, so it would be affecting us in a major way.
Completely.
Too, right?
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Interesting. And then we have all the solar flares that are going off right now. So we're in the middle of a geomagnetic storm?
Yes, exactly,
okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so what solar, thank you for bringing that up, John, because I was totally like, I want to talk about that too.
Yeah, speaking of, with a solar eclipse going on, that could be an intensity, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's intensity because what solar flares do is they actually change the electromagnetic frequency of our Earth. And so if things, and we are frequency, we are energy beings. We are matter, but all matter is energy. And so when we have these solar flares, these really big significant celestial events, then what's happening is that our atmosphere is changing. Like certain shifts have happened to our atmosphere, and so things are lightening. We're adjusting. Our bodies are reacting in certain ways, and you might even feel that in your own personal lives, where you have some extra sensitivity at this time. Where you're sensitive to other people's feelings, other people's emotions, other people's thoughts. Those deja vu kind of moments and those synchronistic events are all happening. We are all going through a really big shift. I mean, our consciousness is elevating. And so many of these influences that we have, these cycles that we're seeing play out in our astrological conversation, so many of these are indicators that we are all sort of on this precipice of change. We're all moving into an expanded awareness, and so it's a time of deep reverence and deep beauty and real personal catharsis. And so if you're feeling like circumstances in your life just aren't working out, or you're feeling this stir of change and feeling this internal pull towards something else, this is your call. That is your call, that voice inside which is saying, I have to do something different. That voice that is unknown, it is deep. It's not something that you can put necessarily all the time logical thought behind, but it's equally as significant as any other circumstance in any other logical formation of your thoughts that is going on. And it's important to follow those and live into it. It's not anything to think about. It's something to live into. You got to kind of feel your way. We're all kind of feeling our way through. And with Neptune and Pisces, that's just, magnified.
Definitely. So we have a question in the chat room from Tristan. And how does the eclipse affect our health?
That's a great question, Tristan. So it depends. A lot of it depends on where it falls in your personal chart. And if it's falling in your 6th house, for example, then, so if it's falling in your 6th house or your 12th house, then perhaps it can create a health crisis or a health challenge. But ultimately, remember that anything happening in your life, any health situation, any physical manifestation of an inner change, is really just symbolic of something deeper. And so when you have health challenges that come up because of the eclipse, and often they do, often it's like a time of clearing out. So you might have some belly issues, and you might have some or some skin irritation, or there anything that's like trying to come out.
Purging.
Exactly. So that's how you might experience it. And often sicknesses are just, things have been working through your aura for quite some time, and they're coming out into your physical body so that they can be released. And they're usually just symbols often of deeper things happening.
And her birthday is tomorrow, Tristan's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday,
solar return for
Tristan!
Tristan.
Oh, it's your solar return too.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be pretty significant. This is a really significant time for you as well. I mean, this is the beginning of not only all of a cycle for all of us, a universal cycle, but it's a beginning of your personal cycle. So Tristan, I would recommend spending some time, either going to the hot springs or going to the the ocean, spend some time in water, because this is a moment where you could really clear, you could really sort of purify your energetic body, your physical body, and really prepare for a new beginning. This is also a time when you are because you have all of that Aries energy. This is a moment of real creative possibility for you. When it's time to take risks and say the things that you might have been resisting saying, or you might have been afraid to say. This is a time to break out of any of those fears and really move into a sense of courage. That's gonna follow you. That courage will be kind of your key word for the year, and that'll be the word that carries you through into making some significant. I mean, this to me, this looks like a professional like a highlighted year for you. And so courage is your key word. And I would have pictures of Joan of Arc, pictures of people who model courage or who emulate courage for you. I would have sort of referenced in your around your desk, and so that way you're kind of gathering that subtle energy all throughout the year.
And the sixth house you were saying earlier, so that sixth house, what's that affect?
So that affects that actually affects your health, and it's your health and your personal responsibilities.
Okay.
It's your personal day-to-day responsibilities.
And the 12th house?
And the 12th house is the house of your deeper, it's the house of hidden things. So it's the house of the deeper mysteries. It's the house of your interior life, your spirituality. But often those are the two houses that really inform us about health concerns and health challenges. One is acute illnesses, one is chronic illnesses. Your sixth house is going to be your allergies and your colds and your influenza, and your 12th house is going to be blood disorders.
So you're major.
You're made, but not
right.
not always. And sometimes sometimes autoimmune concerns and things like that. And it depends on what planets are in those houses and what signs on the cusp of those houses that to really get into some of the intricacies of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if people want to do their own chart, they can go online and do that, right?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Just to get a little overview of what's going on for their solar return, and then have a session with Rachel to go in depth with it, because I'll tell you right now that there's nothing like having someone like Rachel who can interpret your chart versus going online and trying to do it yourself. I mean, you get a professional who is intuitively receiving information in addition to reading what's there on your chart, but actually feeling the energies of what's going on and be able to give you advice on how to make the best of your life. And she definitely can do that.
Thank you, John.
No, it's true. It's true. You do it for me every day. So.
I'm going to give you your 25%.
Oh, please. No, that was not a paid endorsement.
Now I'm blushing.
Well, Well. See, it wasn't planned.
So now, so going back to the houses, if you have Scorpio on your first house cusp, if you are a Scorpio, then your sixth house is going to be represented in this eclipse. And in fact, your what's going to be happening is the eclipses and the sun's moving into Aries. All of these things are happening right on that cusp, right on that sixth house cusp. So for our Scorpios, you might be feeling this sort of physical level, and so this is a great day to just take it easy, kind of reset, attend to your health, make any kind of. You might be already feeling like, okay, it's a day to start a diet, or it's a day to work out, it's a day to exercise, and that would be a good thing to do.
All right.
Yeah, I have a couple of things I want to talk
Sure.
about with the eclipse. And then we're going to get into the equinox. So this eclipse in particular is part of Saros cycle. A Saros cycle is a cycle that happens every 18 years, and it's it's based on the nodal axis of the moon. And so each Saros cycle has a family of eclipses, and this one that we're in right now, it's our Saros cycle 120, and it started on May 27th of 933 AD, 933. So, and the cycle, the significance of it and the symbolism of it is it deals with successes and it deals with relationships. So the two areas of our life that we, that are sort of like, I think are probably the most important to us here in our Western culture. Sudden successes in group projects is what Bernadette Brady explains that the Saros cycle is about, and also sudden successes with personal relationships. So if you're wanting a relationship, if you are wanting to end a relationship, or if you're wanting to stay in a relationship, this is a really significant eclipse that's probably going to show you some major changes that are happening, within you, first of all, but then on the exterior of you. And so pay attention to what was happening 6 months ago. And what kind of influences were happening at that time within your relationships, and where were you leaning toward, and what were you sort of thinking about? You're planting seeds right now during a solar eclipse, during a new moon. We all plant seeds. We all set intentions for what we would like to manifest. We don't often see the manifestations of the things that we're intending during a solar eclipse until 6 months later. Usually it takes about that much time for things to be illuminated. We will start to see shifts and changes, and we might see some very significant changes in our environment right now, but 6 months is really when the completion of that cycle, we're starting to see a little bit more. We have more clarity, and we have some insight about the completion of that cycle. How is this significant for you? Well, pay attention to what's happening in your life. What's up for you? What ideas did you wake up with this morning? Because many of us were sleeping through this, and it affected our dreams. So what was coming up for you in your dreams? Also, this is a time because eclipses are linked to earthquakes, and water, like we talked about. So, water symbolically in our bodies and in our minds and in our lives represents our emotional state. And so, there might be some emotions that are surfacing for you at this time that are important to pay attention to. And they're important because any kind of emotion is just a signal that it's like a messaging system for us. So if emotions are coming up, there are some triggers. There are some triggers in your life, some circumstances that need to go back and be revisited.
And when this eclipse happened, what degree was it, Pisces?
It was 29 degrees
29.
Pisces. Yeah, okay. 29 moving into 30.
Into 30. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So very, significant too, because at 29 degrees of any, the 29 degrees before a cardinal sign. So the 29 degrees of Pisces is moving into Aries, and the 29th degree of any of those signs. So the 29th degree of Gemini, 29th degree of Sagittarius, 29th degree of
so that's a cusp?
Yeah, a cusp. Okay. Exactly.
Okay.
So if you're born on the Pisces cusp, if you're born on the Sagittarius, the Gemini, or the Virgo cusp, those are the 29 degrees of all of those points are everything, in that is everything wants to move toward the cardinal, or not everything, but 29 degrees of that cardinal cusp is significant because the 0 degrees of any cardinal cusp marks a significant change. It's a transition, and it's a time when tension builds up and then it breaks open. So we have the Pisces is the 29th degree of Pisces is like, okay, we're closing a chapter, we are ending a cycle, everything is concluding, and we're clearing things out, and then it moves into Aries, which is like it's like like the pioneering, the point of pioneer, the point of initiation. You got to do something. You got to move, and so it's a really significant degree for this to be happening.
Yeah, that's why I was curious about that, because it feels like it is a major change. Like we have like the breakdown before the breakthrough.
Yeah.
You know? And
completely.
Okay.
And we're still feeling that break. I mean, I think that the breakdown, it's like, we're
like we're seeing all the unrest going on in the world, you know? So a lot of times when we see these eruptions, it's causing a major breakthrough for us.
Yes.
So that's why I was just curious, and I think it's interesting if you look back at where the eclipse happened, how the eclipses, the sunshines are all over the world, right?
Yeah.
So it's affecting the whole world.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
it's very,
And they do, and but they mostly affect the places where it's
visible to see. Yeah.
So,
powerful.
so it's really a powerful time. It's the end of a cycle.
Yeah.
So the 0 degrees point of what's happening with the equinox.
Mm-hmm.
So the equinox is like where we're moving into,
Mm-hmm.
and the equinox is it's the beginning of the astrological new year.
Okay.
And so it's the very beginning of a cycle. And the equinox is a time of planting seeds. And it's a time of setting into place what it is that you are trying to manifest in your life, and whatever that is. It's a great time to really to meditate and to really get in touch with where it is that you're being led. And what changes are trying to manifest and trying to come about in your life. It's interesting because I keep and if you have any questions, or
Sure.
if anybody has any,
we're watching the chat, and you can call in too.
Absolutely. So there's I want to kind of go through each. I have personal mantras or personal affirmations for each sign.
Great.
And in this kind of will guide you into what you're going to want to say over this next 2-week period, and sort of the creative opportunity that's happening for your life. And so for you, Aries, it's a time of fully and completely accepting yourself and willingly stepping into your purpose. It's a time when the light wants to be shown on you. So let the light shine. Let it come in. There's a lot of really great things happening for you. And so your mantra needs to be, I allow, I allow, I allow. And then follow it. Then what'll happen is all of a sudden, the universe will start opening things up for you, opening doors up for you. It's a tremendous time. Taurus, this is a time of illuminating the dark spaces within yourself. And let love fill those dark spaces. And so your mantra is, I let love fill the deepest part of myself. And because that's the opportunity for you. There's so much internal shifting happening, and with Venus in your sign too right now, there's a lot of opening to relationships, and a lot of kind of desire to reach out, desire to connect to other people, and so what you're going to be getting in touch with is any kind of resistances that you might have or you might feel to reaching out beyond yourself and really intimately connecting with others. And so this is a time of illuminating those dark spaces in your life. And for Geminis, your mantra is hallelujah. Your mantra is you are entering a new chapter in your life. There's a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of reaching out in community. There's a lot of kind of being the center stage and let other people rotate around you and participate with you. And so this is all about getting ready for the next chapter of your life. You really are opening new doors. You really are stepping into a whole new beginning. And so your affirmation is, I welcome the opportunity to jump into my future boundlessly, effortlessly, and gracefully, and knowing I'm supported by many and by all. Then Cancer, this is time for you to invite success into your life. It's time for you to trust divine goodness, to open up to being recognized. You're going to be receiving a lot of accomplishments and being recognized for your accomplishments. And so your mantra is, I rock. I rock. And it's really like, stepping into leadership, stepping into the position of authority. And so that is yours. Then Leo, yours is, I have faith in the abundance of the universe. My faith is unshakable. This is a time when there's a lot of spiritual awareness happening for you. There's a lot of opening that's happening for you. And so, trust that goodness is coming your way. And so, I would say your mantra would just be Om,
Okay.
Om over and over again.
Om.
Om.
Okay.
Then Virgo.
I'm typing all these out as we go along.
Thanks, John. John is he's so good.
I'm just like trying to keep up. Okay.
Then Virgo, your mantra is, I allow myself to fully know others and be known. This is a time to realize that you're safe in all ways, and that intimacy and connection just reinforce that sense of safety, that sense of trust. It's a time to release any kind of anxiety you have about other people seeing you and for who you really are, especially in those deepest and most intimate connections.
So I allow myself to be safe?
Yes.
Okay.
I allow myself to be known.
To be known and safe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Known and know I'm safe. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Allow myself to know I'm safe.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Then Libra,
Mm-hmm.
your affirmation is, through self-understanding,
Mm-hmm.
I open myself to partnering with others.
Okay.
This is a real significant time for you Libras, with all of these Aries planets in your seventh house of relationships, your solar seventh house.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of relationship stuff happening for you, and it's not always the easiest because those planets are all opposing your sun, or your sun and your also your rising if you're a Libra rising, because I read these for your rising signs too. And that's your own sense of identity. But realize that your own sense of identity is all of our sense of identities, shaped and molded because of the relationships that we're in, because of how we bounce off of one another and how we interact with one another. We learn about ourselves. And so when you realize that there really isn't much separation, then it's easier for you to have boundaries, healthy boundaries. It's easier for you to feel safe and to feel like you can really open up and trust other people. Without giving without people pleasing in a way that gives yourself away. Scorpio, I am completely and totally supported in my work. I am healthy. I am grateful to be of service to others at this time. I am a part of the shift. For you Scorpios, you're going to be called into some acts of selfless service. And for you, you have your Scorpios are, you're very tuned in, you're very intuitive. But a lot of times you might fear how much you know, because that deep sense of intuition, in childhood, you might have been shut down for it. Like, how do you know that? Or, and so for you Scorpios, this is a time when your gifts of intuition are going to be expanded. And when you're going to be in touch with ways that you can be in compassionate care of others and for others. Then Sagittarians, you are, your mantra is, I open my heart to reach out to others.
Mm-hmm.
I open my mouth to speak my truth. I release all fear of being seen and seeing others. So this is a time for you when you're expressing yourself, and there are some great, exciting changes happening for you. And Saturn's in your sign; it's kind of going retrograde through your sign. So you're also being asked to really put focus to the work that you're doing, put focus in and effort into starting new things. And so this is a real time of self-expression.
Right.
Capricorn, I have a solid foundation underneath me. From there, I can grow. My family and all of the ups and downs and challenges are part of my strong, solid spiritual foundation. I can completely balance my home and work lives. So that is yours, because there's so much shift that's happening probably in your own home environment. And so there's a lot of this that's being challenged for you, but it's a time when you're being asked to really understand what structures you have in place, and to really rely on those structures, whether they're the people in your lives, whether they are your family members, whether they are your belief in yourself, really getting in touch with those structures, the solid foundations.
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius, I am open to the ways in which my heart wants to connect with others. I see myself as a member of the community, and I know that I can market myself and communicate to others at this time. You are, Aquarians, you are connected in ways, in very powerful ways. You have this ability to think outside of the box. You have a real strong sense of what others needs. Your finger's sort of on the pulse of what's happening in our planet, and you're more in touch with that at this time. And so this is a time of marketing. This is a time of communication. This is a time of writing, perhaps, starting those projects that you might have on the back burner. Very powerful time for you. Great new beginning. And then Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
Pisces, I welcome abundance into my life.
Mm-hmm.
I am ready to step into my own power.
Mm-hmm.
I know my strengths. I know my challenges. And I trust that I'm here for a divine purpose that's bigger than my own limiting beliefs.
What was that one again?
John's like, wait a second, wait, what? That's me. I trust that I am here for a bigger purpose, divine purpose.
A divine purpose, okay. Mm-hmm.
That expands beyond my limiting beliefs.
Beyond my limiting beliefs. All right.
Yes.
I think I got them all in there.
All
so everyone
right.
can review the chat if you were wondering what yours were.
Great. Excellent.
Court reporter here.
I know you're really good at that, John.
That's so crazy.
You're really, really good.
I just felt inspired to do that.
Yeah,
today,
that was great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, this is all part of our March Forward series. All March we've been talking about some of these bigger planetary shifts that are happening. And so I really want to urge you all to to really ask yourselves, do some really deep introspective work, and ask yourselves, or not work, but exploration. Let's make it more fun. Work doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah.
But do some deep soul searching and find out what it is that you're being initiated into at this time. What is the spiritual knowledge that is trying to fill you right now? That is where you're being urged to move, and there might be things in your life that have to shift, that have to step out of the way in order for you to completely step into your purpose. The beautiful thing is that our purposes are here for us. We live them. We don't have to think too much about them. We don't have to scheme about them. They're always going to be something that we're living into, and the more we live into that authenticity, and the more that we live into that state of being, our ontological reality, the more we find truth and we uncover truth in our own lives. And that truth might be that we have to completely and totally change everything. But, that's where our passion meets courage. And it pushes us forward into those spaces.
Right. The 4 C's, I think. The courage to make a choice to create change.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 4 C's. Courage to make a choice to create change. Yeah. So that's great. That's so there is our show is almost up. We have just 1 minute, and I want to play a song for you that has been it's been on my mind, and I actually posted on Facebook about this. It's been on my mind for days, and like just nonstop. I've been playing it on repeat, and I'm gonna see if I can pull up Margaret Gray, who was on our show just a couple of weeks ago. Actually, when I posted it on Facebook, she's like, "Oh my God, this is the perfect song for the equinox and for the new beginning." And it's a Bjork song, and it's called "All Is Full of Love." And here's what Margaret posted about it, because she was like, "I love this song. Here's what it means." And she's got a Virgo rising, so she was like on top of it.
All right.
And it's all about stepping into the new beginning, and it's all about this. Bjork says that the song is from a moment when I had a pretty rough winter, and then it was a spring morning, and I walked outside and the birds were singing. Spring is here. I wrote the song and recorded it in a half day. So the song is all about the inception of spring, this new beginning.
Perfect.
So we're gonna leave you with that, and I'm kind of breaking my. She's not a Pisces, she's not an Aries, but the song is
spring.
perfect. The song is perfect for spring.
Spring equinox, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have a reading with our guest from November, Marianne.
Oh my gosh!
Yes. So thank you for
Great.
that. So I'm excited about. That's where I'm headed right after this.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, so I want to give Marianne a shout out.
Hi, Marianne.
And she's wonderful.
So everyone go MarianneBRussell.com.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. And our show was in November,
Yeah.
so go back and watch that show.
And I did. I watched the archives just to prepare for the reading. So she's a soul reader.
She
so
is,
it's going to be
and
amazing.
she's so incredible.
Yeah.
So everyone go back and watch that show, because she talks about transitions and about change. So.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to do the
Yeah.
reading now, because remember I kept saving it up. I
Yep.
wanted to save it up. I'm like, I'll do it on my birthday. So yeah. So I'm glad
yay.
she got me in. So thank you, Rachel, for that.
You're welcome.
And thank you for everything. Being a part of the show has been amazing. Working with you, sweetie. So I appreciate it.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Likewise, John. It's
All
been a
right.
real gift.
Cool.
So happy birthday, John. Happy birthday,
you,
Michelle Polino.
Yes.
Thank you to my creative team, Val, Allie, Deborah, Robin, and John.
Perfect.
And have a good week.
To be given love, to be taken care of, you be given love. You have to trust it. Maybe not from these sources. You have poured yours. Maybe not from the directions you are staring at. Trust your head around. It's all around you. All is full of love. All around you. All is full of love. You just ain't receiving. You're